Hi, guys. How are y'all doing this Monday? So, today I'm going to talk about gaining weight if you quit dieting for good. That is probably my number one fear that I hear from you guys. It's like, but what if I start eating intuitively and allow a wider variety of foods into my life? What if I gain weight? If this is you, definitely hang out in this coffee chat with me today because I'm going to kind of walk you through some of those, um, how to deal with some of those fears in your mind and obstacles. So if you're catching this and you're joining me, say hi. Let me know who you are and where you're from. Allow StreamYard access so that I can see. And then we can start chatting together. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay, so that I can see that you joined later and I can come back and answer any questions that you have. Okay, will I gain weight if I quit dieting for good? You guys, this is the hands down number one question that I get when I have calls with clients. And they are interested in working with me. They want to know more. So here's the thing. If you've been controlling your food, if you've been dieting for a while now, maybe decades, ditching diet mentality can be tough. It's not easy. So to truly do this, we have to give ourselves what I call unconditional permission to eat and allow all foods to have a place at the table. So this part of the process can be really scary for a lot of people, for a lot of chronic dieters. We're used to, chronic dieters are used to controlling their food. It's very black and white. So this idea of can be scary and it can be kind of like you're letting yourself go, right? So let's dig into that, especially that thought of I'm letting myself go. Okay, I want to ask you a couple questions. So if you're hopping on, first of all, say hi, let me know you're here. And actually, when you say hi and do that, that allows other people to see too. So a couple questions for you guys today. Reflection questions. If you are somewhere where you can write these down or you come back and you catch the replay, write them down. Are you afraid that you'll gain weight if you let all foods have a place at the table or in your life? Maybe you're this person that's watching this right now and you're afraid of like letting yourself go. Or really it's losing your identity. So maybe I want you to think about this. Maybe you're the healthy one in the group. So maybe you worry that if some people see you eating something that's one of their, your foods that's on the should not eat list, and it's one of your foods that you don't allow in the house, you're trying to make permission and you're trying to bring that food back into your life, what are people going to think when they see you eating this food? So maybe you worry about what other people will think if you gain weight. I want you to really think about this. And if this is you, if any of these things are you, just put me in the comments below and I can come back and we can chat about it. I'll keep an eye on the comments. So maybe you wonder if you allow all foods into your life, all foods, a wide variety of foods, to have a place at the table, maybe you wonder if people will still view you as healthy. Maybe you worry about someone directly asking you, have you gained weight? So these are all concerns that I hear coming from people when they hear about this idea of trusting their body and intuitive eating. So look, y'all, I'm a dietitian and I've been there. Hey, I think we got somebody. Hey, Jen, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. We're talking about literally the most common fear, the number one most common fear that I get from people when we hop on discovery calls together or we first start chatting. So, I was just saying, I'm a dietitian. I know you're a dietitian too. And it's like, y'all know my past with food obsession and those thoughts. I understand those thoughts, those confrontations in your mind. They can be pretty scary. They can cause a lot of worry. And I get it. I really do. But here's the thing that I want to talk to you about. First of all, it's your body. It's your life. And your life doesn't have to be spent worrying about what other people think of you. So that's the first thing. And we were just having this conversation this past weekend with my body image group. But your job and your life are not meant to be pleasing others. If this resonates with you, just send me up a heart or a me comment below me. Because if your number one fear with ditching diets and embracing the idea of food freedom is, but what if I gain weight? I want you to think about this idea of letting yourself go a little differently. Okay, I want you to flip that thought and think of it as, why can't I let myself be? What this means is you're not going to micromanage your life anymore through dieting. You're not going to micromanage the food that goes into your mouth. Instead, what it is it's really making a choice. It's all about choices. And it's making a choice to treat your body with kindness, with respect, with dignity, with compassion. And that's what intuitive eating really is. So I think it's really hard in the culture that we live in now, this diet culture, we call it in the group. Diet culture tells us it's really harsh. It tells us we have to control things. We have to control our food. We have to live in the black and white. So, to obtain health, we have to cut things out in order to stabilize or to thrive even. So to lose weight, cut this out. You hear it all the time. Cut this, cut this, cut this. Cut this food out. So isn't it interesting? If you're with me and you have a notebook, I want you to write this question down too. Isn't it interesting that we view compassion, and kindness and respect, which is ultimately self-care, as letting ourselves go? And when I dug into this and when I researched intuitive eating and the more that I talk to you guys and I hear your concerns and your questions, I think, diet culture, they've really taught us that we're letting ourselves go if we don't do all of these things. Treating yourself with kindness, with compassion, with respect is not letting yourself go. It's letting your body be. So I'm going to dig deeper into that. But I think it's so interesting that self-care is ultimately going to lead to worse health behaviors. That perceived negative weight gain in our lives. First of all, we don't even know that this is going to happen, right? So I want you to think about it a new way. And we talked about this in my body image group too the other day. So how would you talk to a friend or a loved one or even like a family member that was struggling with things? How would you want them to treat their body? Or somebody out there that's listening and you fear weight gain or the potential even of weight gain. If you allow your body to enjoy a wide variety of foods, and embrace the process to food freedom. So I guess my question is, why would you treat yourself differently than you would treat someone else? So reflect on this. Why can't I treat myself the way that I would want someone I love to be treated? As I find, we're always 10,000 times more harsh on ourselves than we are on other people. The fact of the matter is, people probably aren't even thinking anything about us. They're probably in their own world. But shouldn't we treat ourselves the way that we treat other people that we love in our life? But we're not. We're so hard on ourselves. If you guys can relate, if you struggle with this too, if you've been there, type me in the comments. We can come back and we can chat about it. So if you're struggling with this fear of weight gain, and you're worried that if you stop dieting and you allow all foods to really have a place in your life, a place at the table on your plate, I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Again, lots of questions today, lots of reflection questions. Do you truly believe that self-control is necessary for you to obtain your health goals? Number two, would using basically intuitive eating as a form of self-care, would this allow you to have true, authentic health? And what I mean by true, authentic health is really living a meaningful and joy-filled life. Think about your life on diets. Think about how much time and energy is wrapped up into thinking about what you should be doing or calculating things. At the end of the day, I understand this can bring on some anxiety when we think about potential weight gain. So take a deep breath. Take a deep breath with me now, because this is super, super hard, and diet culture knows this. So they know what they're doing. There was a post in the group recently about it's a $72 billion industry. And Jennifer, I know you saw it, you commented on it, you can agree with me, but this is why the media is constantly digging into this fear to keep you in this cycle. So what happens is diet culture, they don't want you to know the reality and the science, the true science behind your set point weight. And we're going to get into this concept deeper. This is actually this next month's workshop for us. So in May, in the Food Confidence Club, we're going to go into the science behind set point. So the bottom line is that set point is basically what will happen to your weight based off of what your body needs. Okay, so that may mean if you could gain weight, it may not, but there are three outcomes with intuitive eating, with trusting your body and letting your body be, coming away from diet, stopping the diet cycle. You could gain weight, you can maintain, or you could lose. Three options. The worst part of diet culture is it preys upon this fear and it ignites all this anxiety in us that we have about weight gain. I remember having this belief. I've been in your shoes, but what if I go off this meal plan? What if I'm not controlling everything that I put into my mouth? What if I do allow myself to start eating a pastry instead of some egg and avocado only breakfast? Okay, won't I gain weight? If I continue to allow these foods that are off limits in my life have a place in my life, won't I just keep gaining weight forever and ever and ever? I mean, to me, it made sense. But the truth is, our body wants to find a balance. It wants to find equilibrium. It wants to find a set point. So we're created for homeostasis, for balance. Balanced blood sugar isn't just for diabetics. It's for all of us. So our body wants this. If you can learn to trust yourself, if you can learn to trust your body again, you can learn to find that balance. So if you're struggling with this, or you're worried that you just don't know how to trust your body or to find balance again, I want you to put trust in the comments, and we can talk about that. Because when you learn to trust your body, you can find that balance, that equilibrium, and you can get out of survival mode and you can learn to start to thrive. So our body is meant to function optimally, and it does that when we're at its set point. So you will begin to feel like you have mental clarity. You won't be in this brain fog all the time. You're going to have the clarity and the space to have that freedom. I love that word, freedom. It's in all my programs. That freedom that I'm always talking about. So if this is you, type trust in comments. Let me know. So I want you to remember that diet culture, they sell us the story. They sell us all the story that either, pursuing weight loss or having the perfect health is having six-pack abs, or that booty that the Instagram influencer you're following, is coming up in your feed. So diet culture tells us we should all be aspiring to that. I want you to stop and think about any time right now that you've reached your perceived goal. I've been there. I'm an ex-dieter. I remember getting to my goal weight, but I would always change it. I was never happy enough. I would find something else to pick apart about my body. Can you guys relate? If you've been there, type me in the comments, let me know. So, was it ever enough? I think what happens is that it's the story we tell ourselves that once we reach that weight, once we reach XYZ, once we reach this version of health that we have in our mind, that we'll be happier. And that our problems are just really all going to go away. And the truth of the matter is, was that the truth? Is that really true, authentic health if you think about it? It's honestly a very extreme and absolute way of looking at health. It's not living in the gray that I always talk about in this group. So, if I just get to this certain place, or if I just get to this certain weight, then I will be happy. Then someone will love me. Then I will get this job promotion because I look a certain way. Like all of these things. So that's how diet culture continues to thrive and be a growing and growing and growing $72 billion industry. They're making money off of us. Yes, they are. So you're sitting there listening to me. Maybe you're watching the replay later and you're saying, well, Wendy, you're a dietitian. Don't you believe in weight loss? Well, okay. I'm going to play along. Let's play along. I'm going to play along with you here. I'm going to go back to the Wendy that I was 10 years ago and talk to me about weight loss. Let's say I believed in intentional weight loss, because that's a big word here, a big key word with intuitive eating. Because I'm not saying that you won't. What are the three things? You can gain weight, you can maintain, or you can lose. All of them comes back to your set point. And we're going to talk about set point this month in the workshop. But let's just say diets really do work. Why are people always going back on them then? What does your history look like on diets? I've got this thing called a diet history tool, and I go over this with clients usually in our first couple meetings together. So if you want the diet history tool, just type tool in the comments and I can share that with you, because it's really eye-opening. And what it looks at your history of your life on diets. And you really analyze it. You've got a graph when we complete it, and you can analyze, has this really worked for you over time? But here's the thing, let me set the stage. Okay, you diet, you lose whatever it is that your meal plan or your app or whatever it is tells you you're supposed to lose. And then you're just done forever, right? Has that ever worked for you? I mean, love your comments below. Let me know, has this ever worked for you? How many diets have you guys been on? That's not what happens. Honestly, let's go ahead and say it's not what happens ever. So it sure does make sense, though, from a business standpoint. If you saw that post, you can go back and find it in the group. $72 billion. Money talks. So back to this idea of set point. I'm going to give you a little bit of a taste of what I mean by set point before our workshop next week. So the idea of set point, we go through this more in the workshop, but I believe, you guys, that when we understand the science behind why we were created and how we were created. Hey, got somebody on. Let me know who you are so I can see you in the comments. StreamYard won't tell me. But I'm so glad you're tuning in. We're getting into the meat, the nitty-gritty, the set point. So set point, basically, I want you guys to understand the science behind set point and why we were created. We were created for homeostasis. We were created to thrive. And I think understanding this, which is why I think this is a super important topic for our workshop next month, because it'll help you bring that compassion and that acceptance that we're all ultimately seeking in this group. And I understand, like, you're here because you're looking for something different. I also think it's also fair to point out that finding food freedom that I'm always talking about, it'll also allow for the weight cycling. If you're a chronic dieter and you've been dieting your whole life, this will allow for it to stop. And I'll go through more on weight cycling next week in the workshop, but weight cycling is actually worse for our health. This is the actual up and down of gaining and losing and gaining and losing over time. With each diet, it's worse on our health because it keeps us in this perpetual cycle. So let me explain a little bit about weight cycling. It's really what comes from yo-yo dieting. What usually happens is people, they go on a diet, and typically, I want you to think about the first diet you've ever went on. How easy was it to lose weight? The first time you did it, I bet you it was pretty darn easy. When you sit there and think about it and you were like, wow, you probably got results, and you got results really quickly. So eventually that diet stops working. And then what happens? You go back to eating normally and you gain the weight back. So what you've done is your body has adjusted, it's dropped its metabolism to meet the needs. It's conserving energy. It's doing what we were creating it to do. And then when you go back and you eat the things that you cut out for whatever reason, your body gains weight. And it usually gains weight plus some, because it's like, ooh, I don't know when she's going to do this to me again. And usually it takes a few diets for the weight gain to start happening as you cycle off. You'll gain it back, but you'll start gaining it back plus some, because your body recognizes the cycle. It's like, oh, she's going to do this to me again. The first time was easy. The second time, people are like, it wasn't as easy this time. If you've been dieting your whole life, you're like, why do I keep dropping my calories and dropping this and I can't lose a pound? What's going on? I have this question all the time. The diet stops working, you gain the weight back, and for 40% of you guys, you gain back more weight than when you started. What this is doing is it's increasing your body's natural set point, your body's natural God-given set point. With each diet, it's increasing your body's natural set point, which makes it even harder to get back to that point. So you have this cycle of up and down, of up and down. Can anybody relate to this? If you can, type me in the comments. Let me know. The best way to stop all of this, the cycle, is wave the white flag, call a truce, stop dieting, end the fight. Can't think of any more words to explain the easiest way to stop the constant battle that you have with your body, the war between you and your body. Yes, I see you. I see you. I will come back and we will chat about it. But finding food freedom that I'm always talking about through intuitive eating, it's going to allow for the fight to stop. And so that's what we're really doing. It's going to allow for self-care. And that's really, really what we're doing here is we're taking care of the body that God gave us. We're not controlling it. We're not in charge here. We're not taking control and trying to micromanage our food. So in finding food freedom, intuitive eating can help you really find your set point that I'm talking about. So this is the point where your body will start to trust again, and we want you to get to that point. So we want you to accept and to trust, to have compassion. It's that place where your body functions optimally. So we're going to talk about this too in the workshop, is like what has happened in the past when you were in control and you were trying. Like, were you feeling the best? Sometimes we can try to force our body to be at a weight that is lower than our natural set point. Our body doesn't function quite the way we want it to. Our body doesn't feel the way we want it to. So it's finding our natural set point and trusting our body. We've got a worksheet to help you walk through all of these things. But I'm going to read a little bit from one of my favorite books for you right now. And if you don't have it, if you don't have this book, I recommend you get both of these books, honestly. It's by Linda Bacon, and I'm going to read something from Body Respect. I also would recommend Health at Every Size as well. So I'm going to read a couple of things from this for you. So what if I'm not at the weight range that I feel is healthy for me? What if I'm not at that set point where I feel that I'm ready to stop dieting and find food freedom through intuitive eating? Okay, here's what this book says. This is what I want to read to you today. Health at Every Size replaces the old discredited paradigm. It's talking about the weight loss paradigm. It helps people treat themselves well in their body right now, whether or not it's at their optimal weight. So for some people, following Health at Every Size will lead to weight gain, and others will lead to weight loss according to their set point weight and any consequences of an improved relationship with food and with their bodies. So Health at Every Size practice recognizes the value of size diversity, and it leads us towards a world where all shapes and sizes feel respected and supported in taking care of their bodies. So Health at Every Size does not claim that everyone is at a healthy weight. What it does do is it asks for respect and help people shift their focus away from changing their size to enhancing their self-care behaviors. So they let their weight fall where it may. They let their body just be. And it goes on to say that by encouraging an accurate understanding of the root cause of health, the prevention of stigma, and positive self-care for people of all sizes, we can adjust real health outcomes, giving both fat and thin people the support that they deserve, and avoiding devaluing people and worsening the health divide. This is my favorite. Health at every size puts health and caring back at the heart of healthcare. Now, I get a little teary when I hear that. But if any of you guys have ever been to the doctor and they have put you down and you've left feeling extreme guilt, extreme shame, I love this so much because this is true. This is authentic health. And to me, it's the ethical way to practice healthcare. So I hope this helps you work through some fears that you might have about the what if of food freedom. If you're questioning, what if I gain weight? I'm going to leave off today by just saying that it's normal to feel anxious or scared to come off of diets. And if you feel this way, definitely type me. If you're watching the replay later, let me know. Yes, I do too. It's a whole new way of looking at health. And it's scary. It's scary to jump off the deep end and give up dieting if you're a chronic dieter and allow all foods a place at the table. And I think it's normal to feel nervous about leaning in to intuitive eating and trusting your body to find food freedom. But here's the thing I learned in my lifetime is that you can't let fear dictate your decisions for the rest of your life. And the sooner that we can stop, we can wave the white flag, we can call the truce, the faster we can get on with our lives. And I only wish I'd realized this in my 20s or my 30s even, because diets, they've stolen a lot of my life. Well, I don't dwell on that, but you can always make the change to move forward. So ultimately, what I try to do and what I encourage you to do in this process is to give fear the big old hug and say, you know what? This is something that I need to lean into, and I need to get curious about why have I been stuck in this pattern my whole life and not run away from it. And I do believe that this is where a professional can help you. And so I just want to chat about some options that you have. So first of all, Food Confidence Club is our membership, and I try to make that so easy and affordable if this is something that you're afraid of and you want to dip your toes into. So if you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, come learn, because this is probably the best decision you could ever make is to stop dieting. So the first week of every month, the Food Confidence Club is open to new members. And next week, we're going to have our monthly workshop. And we're going to go through the concepts of set point. We're going to go through the diet history tool. And we're going to analyze what diets have done this far for you in your life and if they're really working. And then how the process of food freedom works and start to put some of those steps of the process in your life. If you want to learn more about food freedom, hit me, just comment me. I'll chat back with you and let you know. I can put the link below so that you have it. But yeah, we do a monthly workshop. And then when you join, you get access to a whole vault of videos. I try to separate it, make it easy. It's into tracks. And we have a coaching call weekly, depending on what track you're on or what you're struggling with. So, we have a track on mindset. We have a track on diet mentality. We have a track on chronic conditions. And that part really dives into gut health and hormones and the stuff that your wellness culture is always throwing at us. We have a track on body image. So whatever it is that you're struggling personally with, there are videos in the vault that you can turn to. And I update that every month too. So keep it fresh. And you do have access to me. Once a week, we have a coaching call. for one of the different tracks. So depending on what track you're struggling with, you can hop on a call and we can walk through things together. One more announcement. Gift of Freedom Retreat. Final day to sign up is May 5th. So we're 2 days out. Last call if anybody wants to join the Gift of Freedom Retreat with Dr. Sarah Smith. This is really going into intuitive eating. We'll spend more time on the mindful eating side of it, hunger and fullness. Sarah helps us tap into our body in just a way that if you guys, you tell me you struggle with leaning into your body and maybe you don't recognize those cues, maybe something that Sarah does and she will teach us is amazing. It'll help us tap back into our body. And I have some tools for you too. So if mindful eating, hungerfulness is something that you struggle with, you need help with, the emotional side of things, then definitely check that out. And I want you to put retreat in the comments so we can get you your gift box out in the mail. I'm so excited you guys joined me today. I hope you have a fabulous Monday and I will see you soon. Bye guys.